welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Hope you had a great Saturday, and your Sunday's off to a wonderful start. A beautiful day here in Baton Rouge, morning in Baton Rouge after a pretty overcast, kind of rainy day yesterday. LSU did land a tight end commit for the class of 2024. Tavion Galloway. He's out of Ohio. He's actually the top player in Ohio for the 2024 class. He's a rising junior, so he's going into his junior year of high school, so he's still got 2 more years before he would ever show up on campus. 6'5", 230, had offers from Arkansas and Auburn, Miami, Ole Miss, a lot of big Power 5 schools. So, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know anything about Tavion Galloway, all right, other than what I've read. I'm not going to tell you I'm sitting there watching game film of a high school sophomore from Ohio, okay? What I will say that I feel is significant is that Brian Kelly, during his time in Notre Dame, produced NFL talent at 2 positions better than any other, and it was at tight end and offensive line. And I'm sure you're all familiar with all the tight ends that have rolled through there, through Notre Dame. And, well, let's get a list. Hang on. I mean, Kyle Rudolph comes to mind. Michael Mayer is going to be a first-round pick this year. Tyler Eifert, Troy Nicholas, Ben Koyak. These are all players drafted at tight end. Durham Smythe, Alize Mack, drafted by the Saints. Cole Kmet, played baseball as well, as you remember. You might remember. Tommy Tremble. And I mentioned Rudolph, and then obviously Michael Mayer is about to be drafted. Probably a first-round pick. So he did an exceptional job of recruiting and developing tight end talent. Was a huge part of the offense there in South Bend. So if you're able to pull top tight end talent in the country, that's a good thing because that's something that they focused on a lot. And then also, if you look at Louisiana's talent for 2024, forgive me, I'm doing this on the fly. Great start to the show. Here it is. Okay. 2024, the number 1 player in Louisiana is a tight end named Tradez Green out of East Feliciana. So anyway, so you've got 1 tight end commit already, and the number 1 player in the state for next year is from is a tight end. So would hope they get rolling there. Okay, let's say some good mornings here. You know the drill. Fire away as always, and we'll get rolling. Truax, what's good? Benton Alford, Jason Mathern, Bob Poole, Kelly Presley, Bubba Tatum, good morning. Dylan Landry, Blaine Smith, morning, Matt. It's going to be interesting to see who wins a starting quarterback. Who do you think will be the starter? Interesting, Blaine. I've never been asked that question. I think that Jaden Daniels is ultimately going to start the opener. for a bajillion reasons that I've mentioned a bajillion times, including he's the most veteran quarterback. He does what Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock want, which is he can move the pocket. Miles Brennan has only started 3 games and was not impressive in those 3 games. If you actually go back and watch them, well, he threw 400 yards against Missouri. Yes, he did on 50 pass attempts. I mean, it just wasn't good. It was about 50% completion. And then Nussmeier just turns the ball over a ton. I don't know that you're going to trust the young guy who turns it over a ton. So I think they'll all play, but my opinion is I think ultimately Jaden Daniels will be the starter to start the season. Patrick Cason, Chuck Sanchez. What's up, Chuck? Get it? Up, Chuck? Been a minute on that one. Trivia Carter, Kyle Millick, and Alex Barnes. Scone, you had a lot of fans at Rouse's yesterday. Alex, did you go to Rouse's yesterday? Because I don't know that you came up and said hello. Saw Ronnie Dugas and Everett. I can't remember if it's Himmel or Hemel, how he says, but Everett, Iowa Everett. Got to see those guys, and a lot of people were very kind to come say hello. And I took Drew over to Rouse's. They had a rare whiskey tasting at Rouse's yesterday. It was free, but they opened up bottles of Van Winkle Lot B and Stagg Jr. and Thomas H. Handy and Old Forester 150th anniversary, Weller 12. I mean, they had some really Michter's 10. I mean, they had some really good bottles. But I had Drew with me, so we got there at it started from 10 to noon. We got there at about 11. So, man, they had already opened up a second bottle of Van Winkle 12 year. The Weller 12 was gone. The Old Forester 150th was gone. Said they had like 300 people when they started. It was crazy. So, thanks to everybody who came out. It was nice to meet a lot of people who did stop me and say hello. Normal Guy. Good morning. Larry Gardner, Ronnie Dugas. There's Ronnie Dugas. Thavanka De Silva, Shane O'Mac. Morning, Matt. Tried my first taste of Blanton's this week. Very nice. Okay. Thank you, Larry. Joey Metge, good morning. Merrick Mathern. Spurge, what's up? John Melanson. Morning, Matt. When does Russ Mitchell start this year? Usually we start like we do a probably week 0 preview. We may get him at some point over the next month leading up just to sort of like hey, what's going on, man? How's your summer? Jordan Haddad, good morning from Orange Beach, Alabama. Brad David, did you talk to Jordy at all at SC Media Days? Absolutely. We actually, a funny story, we got off the plane in Atlanta and we flew Southwest, and so we're going to baggage claim, and Jordy and Jacques are coming this way. They had flown Delta. We landed almost at the exact same time. So yeah, so I'm there at the airport, hung out a little bit at, there was a restaurant in the hotel, in the Omni there called Top Draft. It was like a sports bar type place. So everyone sort of found their way there at the end of every day. But yeah, you bump into a lot of people throughout the course of the time there. I mean, there's 1,000 credentialed media, but you find your way, you cross paths sort of throughout the day with the days with everybody. Let's see. For the offensive lineman, Quentin Nelson. Well, yeah, I mean, look, Zach Martin, Quentin Nelson. I mean, they've had a ton. I mean, those are the 2 positions. They have produced more draft picks. I mean, I'm going to roll through it. Robert Hainsley, Aaron Banks. These are drafted linemen under Brian Kelly. Liam Eichenberg, Mike McGlinchey, Quentin Nelson, Nick Martin, the 2nd round pick. Oh, Ronnie Stanley, of course. Chris Watt. Zach Martin. Yeah, this is the offensive lineman. Anyway, yes. Lots of them at those 2 positions. Let's see. Cam tweeted at the Saints to sign Eric Ebron. What do you think? I'd be down for it. I'm a little bummed that, by the way, did y'all see? So good. So Kyle Rudolph signed with Tampa. And Kyle Rudolph is one of the guys that I've kind of been pushing for the Saints to sign. They need tight end help, and I'd love to see them get a little veteran tight end help in there. But Kyle Rudolph signed with Tampa. And so yesterday, Kyle Rudolph tweeted a video, and it was his game-winning touchdown catch in the playoffs over P.J. Williams. And he's like, something that Vikings and Bucks fans can appreciate this morning, and it's him going up in his he's wearing his Vikings jersey, and then it like transforms into a Bucks jersey. And I love that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson saw that, CD Deuce, and quote tweeted Kyle Rudolph and said, your blessing will come true September 18th, my guy. I'm going to bless you with, and then that was it. I love that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is on my team. I just love the guy. Hated him in Florida. Love him with the Saints. It's like, you want to go pick a fight somewhere? I want that guy. Come on. But you asked about Eric Ebron. Yes. So Eric Ebron, former first-round pick of out of North Carolina. One thing I remember is they played like in the Meineke Car Care Bowl or something like that one year. Maybe it was the Belk Bowl. And he had a freakish touchdown catch. I mean, he was like a top 10 pick, when he was there out of North Carolina. And it just never really materialized with him. I would imagine largely because he started his career in Detroit, and Detroit stunk. Although his first 3 years in the league, his production steadily increased each of his first 3 years in the league. And then after his fourth year, a little step back, and then went to Indy and had a career year in Indy. 750 yards, 66 catches, 750 yards, 13 touchdowns. His production was basically cut in half the next year, played just 11 games, spent the last 2 years in Pittsburgh, which, in fairness, Roethlisberger at the end of his time there, Pittsburgh had all kind of issues, and he played just 8 games last year. So, yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy who, if he's got anything left in the tank, who certainly hasn't been a great player, but has been in the league for 8 seasons. You can get a veteran presence at that position who's a multifaceted tight end. Yeah, I'm for it. Where are we? Let's see. All right, Samuel Merrifield. Matt, do you think Kamara plays week 1? Do you think they trade for a running back? I'm going to say no on the trade for a running back. I do think that they will, in camp, look around and see which running backs end up, cut, your camp casualties, and may try to bring someone in. As far as Kamara playing week 1, man, it would be a total guess. Just a total guess. Because I just don't know what the NFL's discipline policy is gonna look like or be like. When they'll hand it down. I'll say because Kamara's court hearing keeps getting pushed back, that his discipline won't come until later. But that's a guess, total guess. Brian Penton, good morning. All right, from the home of the Cornhuskers, head to Chi-Town. Brennan Warner Rifle, good morning. Deborah Coward, good morning. John Voorhees, missed you in Denham Springs yesterday. Sorry, John, I was there, man. I just didn't get there till like 11. We were there from like 11 to 11:30. So we weren't there at the beginning. Hey, Dad, good morning. Yeah, shout out to Rouses for doing that. That was cool. They said they want to do more stuff like that, which is pretty awesome. Let's see. Samuel Merrifield, will left-handed pitcher Michael Kennedy sign with the team that drafted him? Trying to remember where he was picked. Oh, yeah, he's gone. He went 110th overall. Yeah, he will sign. He will 100% sign, yes. You don't go, again, you don't go, yeah, he's tweeted videos of himself being picked at a watch party and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, no, he's gone. He's drafted by the Pirates. Yeah, look, you don't go, again, if you go, all right, I'll explain this again. All right, every team has a pool of cash that they can spend on signing bonuses in the first 10 rounds. It's their draft pool, okay? And there's slot values associated with the top 10 round picks. So a team is not going to pick a player if in the top 10 rounds if they can't sign him. They'll be on the phone and say, will you take X? If it's yes, okay, we're going to pick you here. If not, they're on to the next guy on their list. So, yes, if there's a guy who was taken in the top 10 rounds, he's gone. That's like Razelman was taken in the 5th round. Like Doty went in round 2. The challenge, the question is when guys go outside of the top 10 rounds. So remember like Gervais, okay? Gervais didn't get picked the first 2 days. So he's like, let's run it back. Well, the next day in round 12, a team clearly called him and said, will you take X? And offered him what he was willing and comfortable to take. The Mets did. So he signed. So the ones you got to kind of bite your fingers on are the guys, or hold your breath, the guys that go after round 10. Round 11 through the end of the draft, because could a team come in late and try to overpay to sign a guy to get him in? You take a flyer on a guy, and you never know. Maybe he has a change of heart, this or that, and he ends up being part of your organization. But yes, if a guy goes in the top 10 rounds, he's signing. Blaine Smith, does Denbrock go with 4 and 5 wide receivers in his offensive scheme? I mean, everybody's got 4 and 5 receiver sets, but that's not a base for anybody. Dalton James Pichon, how will the SC Championship work if we go to a 3-6 schedule like I've been hearing? The top 2 teams in the league would play for the championship. Chris Andropont, good morning. Blaine Smith, Gardner Johnson should have already gotten an extension. He's so valuable to this defense. Yeah, it's coming. Matt Godwin, good morning. Chewy Gutierrez, good morning. 1 weekend closer to LSU football. Coach Kelly's putting out recruiting work. Brian Broom, Ben Giat, morning Scone. Celebrated the big 4-0 yesterday. Good news. No new pains, just the same I had at 39. Have a great Sunday. Happy birthday, Ben. Cheers to you. Hope it was a great celebratory day there for you. I agree. Not much different than 39. Just a different first number. Brent Duga, Kelly Gross, good morning. Let's see. Jordan Haddad, is he your dad or agent T-Bob moment as monumental as advertised? So I saw the tweet that T-Bob put out telling the story, and I think, I mean, she 100% said that, yes. What he said, though, like, he made it seem as if, like, I was just standing off to the side and like, none of the people associated knew who I was. Like, there was a, I mean, don't get me wrong, the young girl, who's probably 20 years old, 100% said that. But we get off the plane, and there's like, immediately these people come right up to us. And it was odd because, like, I mean, so there was it was like a couple probably in the early mid 50s, and then these two girls probably in their 20s, like yeah, early 20s. And so I assumed mom, dad, daughters, right? You're the four of that family of four. Well, the dad comes up to me and is like, "Man, we've been tweeting at you the whole time," and like talking to me as if I should know. But apparently they had all kind of been a little deep in their cup because they were getting on the plane. For those who don't know, we had an awful travel day coming back from Atlanta. It took us 7 hours. We got diverted to Houston and on the tarmac for 2 hours and back. Anyway, so long day. Like we get off the plane. Finally, it's like, just give me my baggage, get me home. Well, these people come right up to us, and clearly, while they were waiting for 4 hours, they were waiting on this plane to take them to Austin. So they had been drinking, obviously, and they were a little tipsy. And so they come up and they take pictures with us. I don't say older, they're not older, but you know what I mean, just like the people that I thought were their mom and dad. But come to find out, the girls were just hanging with these people, and they were going on a bachelorette party. And so I was talking to the dad, the older guy, and T-Bob was talking to the younger girls, and I guess that's when his portion of the story happened. And I guess one of the girls' boyfriends recognized T-Bob, and so they wanted to get a picture or something like that. And that's when she said, "So is he your dad or your agent?" And I was like, "You gotta be kidding me." I mean, she definitely said it. She was also definitely very drunk, but it was funny. It was a really good story. Let's see. Donald Amy Brett DeGrow. Good morning. See, one of the benefits of meeting morning sconers is sometimes you learn how to pronounce their name. So I've been saying Brett Dagro forever, but he was there yesterday at Rouse's and introduced himself as Brett DeGrow. Brett could not, he explained that he didn't know how to phonetically spell his name to explain it, how to say it, but like it could have been D-U-H, Grow, G-R-O-W, DeGrow. But no worries, now I know. It's not Brett Dagro, it's Brett DeGrow. Nice to meet you yesterday, Brett. Thanks for coming out, man. Taz, are you concerned about Michael Thomas with all the precautions the Saints are taking? Nope, not at all. Taz, check out the AFR Saints YouTube channel. Put up a video on Friday about Thomas with the starting on PUP list. I am supremely disinterested in that. Like, trust your eyes. We have seen him, all the videos he's posted. We've seen him running full speed. We have seen him cutting, stopping, starting. Like, I am not in any way concerned at all about Michael Thomas. There is just no reason whatsoever at all for Michael Thomas to be running around putting himself at risk at all in camp. You've waited 2 years. You've patiently gone through all this. There is no reason to risk him at all in practice. Let's see. Okay, Alex Barnes, I missed you at 9:30 to 10:30. Man, I must have just missed you, man. Like, just missed you. But they start at 10. Joey Painich, what's up, Joe Pa? Brad David, was Les ever really considering going to Arkansas in 2012? Never understand why he was given an extension and a raise. Remember, Arkansas's AD at the time, Jeff Long, was with Les. They were both Michigan guys, so they knew each other well. And I think it's one of those things where if you're Jeff Long, you pick up the phone and you make a call to an agent just to see if there's interest. So, I don't know how I don't think there was ever legitimate interest from. I don't think there was ever legitimate interest from Les's side, but I think he was able to parlay that interest into a contract extension. But you got to remember, man, at that point, you hadn't lost 8 straight to Bama and all that sort of stuff. You'd lost the national championship game, but you had a phenomenal season, and you came back in 2012, and you were, we forget this, but if the Yeldon play hadn't happened, if you tackle TJ Yeldon, you're playing for the national championship. So, anyway, your only loss would have been the hammer and the nail game, and you beat Bama. You're playing in the national championship game against Notre Dame. So anyway, Alex, will you be at the Florida State game September the 4th? Actually, not sure, Alex, because we've got obviously have whiskey and wine, and although that's a Sunday, so I don't know if Don Juan's going to be open that late on a Sunday night. So we need to find out. Don't know yet. Taz, Pelicans get to swap picks with the Lakers the next 3 years. What a one-sided trade. Hey man, they got their summer camp title in the bubble, so I'll take it. It's been a good July this year. Go Tigers. Joey Metke. Matt, do you think Brian Kelly, throughout his contract, can build the football program like Nick Saban did at Alabama? No, Joey, listen, man, that's not even fair because, like, Nick Saban is the greatest coach in the history of the sport. Like, that's just an unrealistic bar. So that's not even the question that I would be asking. I would be saying, can Brian Kelly win? Can Brian Kelly win a national title? If he wins multiple titles over the next decade, let's say he wins 2 titles over the, it takes him, 3 years for whatever to get rolling, gets there and wins 1, let's say in his first half of his contract, and then manages to put it together again in the second half, wins 2, and he's the only coach in LSU history to win 2 national titles. So I think if you're asking, can he be Saban? Can he win, 7 national titles? No, I don't. I don't think he will do that. And I don't even think Brian Kelly will coach long enough to do that. But you're just asking about an unrealistic bar. So no, I don't think that he will build a program that matches what Saban has done in Alabama. I don't think anyone will ever do that. Let's see, Duval. Let's see, did you like SC Media Days in Atlanta better than Birmingham? Doesn't matter. I would just tell you, here, I would actually ask it more of you all because, SEC Media Days isn't for us. It's for us to be able to produce content for fans to be able to consume. So what do y'all like better? That's really the question. And if y'all don't care, then, I like the city of Atlanta better. I thought the College Hall of Fame was an awesome backdrop. Functionally, the way it's set up in Hoover is just easier because everything is so consolidated in one area. But I liked Atlanta a lot. They put us in the Hall of Fame this time on the second floor, which made for better functional flow. I liked it. By the way, next year we're going to Nashville. So anyway, Keaton Berry, and let's go. I got 100 burpees on LSU going 10-2. Brian Kelly's never had a roster full of this much talent. The entire staff has a winning background. Brad Davis will have that O-line blocking for Brennan. Okay. Odds makers have LSU at 6.5 or 7, and Keaton's got him at 10. Damon Gilmore, what up? Shane Mack saw an article on ESPN this weekend that stated Vegas video evidence showed Kamara was actually trying to hold the confrontation back by placing his hands on the guy's chest. Then hell broke loose. Let's see. Wendell Norman, good morning. Let's see. Starting O-line, I'd like to see versus Florida State. Campbell, Bradford, Dellinger, Cardell Thomas, and Wire. So Cardell Thomas isn't going to be a starter. And I don't know if Garrett Dellinger is going to play center. And quite honestly, I don't know if Cam Wire is going to start. You brought in Miles Frazier, who was a freshman All-America last year at tackle at FIU, and he might well be a right tackle. And I think Tremont Shorts is going to be a starter somewhere on the interior. Maybe Tremont Shorts plays center, and Dellinger and Bradford are your guards. I could see that. We'll see. We'll see how they line it up. I mean, I guess there's two ways to look at that. You can look at it one of two ways. Like, well, you've got a lot of options, which is a good thing. The flip side of it is you have really nothing solidified, which means you went through spring and nobody really won a job, which is not a good thing. So, see how it plays out in camp. Taz, are the Saints trying to justify their second-round pick by allowing him to compete with Adebo for the starting spot? Because to me, Adebo proved himself, shouldn't have to compete. Well, Taz, I'll put it to you this way, man. It's the NFL. You're always, you should never be content. You should always be trying to compete, and that's not just lip service. Like, you should always be trying to get better to have other guys take other guys' jobs. So, no, I'm perfectly fine with that going the way that they're going to do in camp. Vinay Patel, what do you think of the 3-star one-arm basketball player, Hansel Emmanuel, committed to Northwestern State, future game coin athlete? I like it. That is pretty cool. Like, I've seen the videos of him, which is pretty freaking amazing. And if you got that much drive and determination to be a college basketball player with one arm, it's pretty incredible. Chris, let's see, I think LSU will surprise people this year. I think that's fair. I mean, they're going to win a game somewhere that they shouldn't win. But I think similarly, they're probably going to lose a game that we're going to be really disappointed they lose. And that's generally the making for a season that ends in that 7-5, 8-4 range. So, we'll see. Matt, you going to be there tomorrow for the rebellion of the unveiling of the Pistol Pete statue? No, I'm not going to go. Sammy Merrifield, Matt, what sports did you play Catholic? Play football. Paul Landry, good morning from Costa Rica. Let's see. Let's see. Chris Andropon, absolutely not. LSU lost 3 games, 2012, Bama, Florida, Ole Miss. They lost the bowl game to Clemson. I think the Ole Miss game you're thinking of is 2013. That was in. Wait, am I confusing the years? Hang on. The game that was in Oxford. Was that 12 or 13? I thought that was 13. The game that was in Oxford that they lost. Pretty sure 12. They lost. No, they beat Ole Miss in 2012. They beat Ole Miss 41-35. I think that might have been the Odell punt return game. Yeah, no, they beat Ole Miss. Yeah, they lost the hammer and the nail game 14-6, and then the Yeldon game. That was it. And then they went to the Peach Bowl and lost to Clemson. Check yourself, Chris. Brent, dude, people forget that. Like 2000, if they tackle TJ Yeldon, they're going to the SEC championship game, which they would win, and then they're playing in the national championship against Alabama. Against Notre Dame. That's it is the most. It's the most pivotal play in the history of LSU football. Well, okay, I'll give you one more in a different era. The Billy Cannon's Heisman season, 1959, when LSU was trying to go back-to-back. Their first loss in 2 years was to Tennessee, where I think they had a goal line stand. They got stopped on a goal line stand where Billy Cannon and Sissy scored, but he got stopped. Had they beaten Tennessee, they would have gone and won a second national championship in a row. But I'd give you those two plays. Tight end usage in the SEC doesn't seem to be as prominent as maybe the NFL or other conferences. Will we be seeing them more in our offense? How will it give us an advantage? Brent, Kyle Pitts was a pretty good tight end at Florida. Ole Miss used Kenny Yeboah pretty well, and they got the Michael Trigg, the transfer now from SC. Who's the kid from Arkansas a couple of years ago who won the Mackey Award? Henry. I mean, so to say that tight end usage in the SEC isn't prominent, I really disagree with you, man. Like, it just hasn't been, like, LSU just hasn't produced great tight ends. I mean, when Foster Moreau got drafted, he was the first tight end to get drafted at LSU. I think, no, there was one more. I think, like, Nicky Savoie was, like, a 7th-round pick. And David LaFleur was a first-rounder back in, like, 96 or 97. I want to say there was another one, like, it was a late-round pick somewhere mixed in there. But anyway, so anyway, I kind of disagree. Like, I think tight ends have been a big part of the SEC. LSU just hasn't had good ones. Will Gilliam, let me rephrase, not good ones, hasn't had, like, elite first-round pick tight end talent. Matt Cheney, what's up? Chris, my bad. I know I'm right, bro. Check yourself, dog. Let's see. Dalton Pichon, I'd like to think we can start 5-0. I think the Tennessee game will be a very tough game. I agree with you on Tennessee, but I just am not going to sleep on a road trip at Auburn. I understand Auburn's issues, their shortcomings. They almost fired their coach. Zach Calzada is likely going to be their quarterback, and he was certainly not impressive last year at Texas A&M. I get it. I get all the questions with Auburn. They also have maybe the best running back in the SEC and their entire offensive line returning. So I'm just not going to take a Sharpie and scribble a W next to the Auburn game on the schedule poster. Rapping Batches, what's up? Brett DeGrow with the 3-6 schedule, how do they break up a 3-way tie? So that's really the question, right? And actually, I talked about that with Greg Sankey at Media Days. And that was one of the things that's kind of a holdup of a 3-6. It's like that they'd have to figure out what their tiebreakers would look like if you went beyond head-to-head. Brad David, I fly a lot for work and it's miserable. I know. Paul Montgomery, good morning. Uncle Houdat, knowing now both Texas and Oklahoma are joining the SEC. I'm hearing NC and Florida State maybe next. Will the SEC still be in 2 divisions, East and West? Will Texas and Oklahoma be in the West? So they will not be in 2 divisions. I'll take them in reverse order. They're going to go to a 3-6 model, 3 permanents, 6 rotating. There will be 1 division. Top 2 teams will play for the SEC championship. There will not be an East and a West. North Carolina and Florida State. North Carolina makes sense. Florida State does not. You've got to think, again, this is not about what makes sense geographically or, competitively. Like, would Florida State fit in the SEC football competitive? Sure. Clemson, sure. It is a financial game. This is what, like, I've got to stress, and it's so hard I understand, like, it's so hard for you to, like, repurpose your brain and not think just in terms of who would fit in SEC football. This is all a money game. Remember, I'll say it again, and forgive me for those who've heard it. I'm just going to keep explaining this over and over and over again. Every year when the league has their spring meetings in Destin, they have their financial distribution from the year, right? So you see it every year. The SEC distributed $55 million to each of its members. Okay, that money comes from the TV contract, the college football playoff participation. So, like, if you make the college football playoff, you get, like, the playoff revenue is split into shares. So if you get a team that plays in a playoff game, you get a share. So when the SEC has multiple teams, they get multiple shares of the revenue. It all goes into the pot. Same with the NCAA basketball tournament, SEC baseball tournament, SEC softball tournament, SEC gymnastics, SEC football championship game. Like, all of the revenue goes into one pot. All of it goes into one pot. And at the end of the year, it's divvied up 15 ways. Equal shares for the 14 league members and 1 share for the SEC office. So if you're going to bring a team into the league, they have to bring enough value to where it grows the pot to where everybody's share gets bigger. Otherwise, you're bringing in this team into the league, and everybody gets less money because you just have another mouth to feed. Florida State does not bring that value. And I know it's going to be weird to say because you think about Florida State football and the great teams in the 90s. That's irrelevant. As far as a TV brand, you're already in the state of Florida because of Florida. So you're not adding any more cable packages or cable subscriber viewers. And I understand things are going digital, but you're not yet bringing your media rights to digital properties like Amazon or Hulu or Apple or whatever. That day may come, and then you have a different story, but that's not it right now. And so essentially Florida State isn't going to bring what Texas did, what Oklahoma did, bringing you into a market that you were not presently in. That's why in 2012 you had a Texas A&M and Missouri, because you weren't in those markets. So as you were launching the SEC network, you had the entire state of Texas now. You had Kansas City and St. Louis in Missouri. Does that make sense? That's why like Florida State and Clemson don't make any sense. Miami doesn't make sense. North Carolina does because you don't have a presence in the state of North Carolina yet. You could add UNC, and is one of those rare schools that actually does have a basketball brand that could elevate. So my things, I don't think, from what I understand back in 2012, North Carolina and Duke weren't going to separate, and the other one they were interested in was Virginia Tech. It was actually North Carolina, Virginia Tech, and they weren't going to separate with Virginia. So, I mean, what you're hearing is probably just people who don't know what they're talking about, like tweeting and spouting off on the internet, but what you're hearing is just not right. The GOAT, with 42 days until kickoff, who takes majority of snaps at quarterback against Florida State? That's not the first time I've gotten that on this episode today. I'll continue to say that I think it's Jaden Daniels. Joseph Fallsgraf, CD2 is now my favorite Saint. Went to a game last year, watched him all game on the sideline, pumping up teammates and the crowd as well. He's so good. Murder Giraffe, what's up, man? 104 net. Just need them to hit 8 so my bet hits. Let's see. Jordan, I have Brennan at third string or transferring. I think Brennan will be your number 2. But he may transfer. If he doesn't win the job, it may make sense for him to transfer. Hunter Fournette, Brad Davis the other morning said Fitz West had a great spring at center. That's great. I also don't think they're starting a true freshman at center who played defensive line during his high school career, and they're going to switch him basically and say, "Oh, are you going to be our starting center as a true? You start 2 true freshmen? No way." The Pirate, great early morning show, Matt. Listening to you from Stark Vegas. All right, now, how many games do you see Mike Leach's group winning this year? I think Mississippi State is. Hang on one second. I'm going to pull up the schedule because I did vote Mississippi State 6th in the West. All right. I mean, State's win total, by the way, is 6.5. So I think Auburn is the only one lower at 5.5. All right, here you go. They play Memphis, which is a tough game, but I think they can win. You're at Arizona, which is an odd road trip. LSU made that trip back in 2003, but I don't think Arizona has been good since, what's the guy's name? Ortez Jenkins. Do you remember that name? Ortez Jenkins, 1998, I want to say. Arizona had a really good team back in 1998. And then at LSU, that's a tough start. And you're probably, maybe, if you could be 2-1 coming out of that stretch, great. Probably more likely 1-2 if you drop one of the first 2. You play Bowling Green, which I think you win, which is 2. Then you get A&M and Arkansas at home. You probably win one of those. At Kentucky, at Bama, I think you drop both of those. Then you're home against Auburn, which is a winnable game. Home against Georgia, where you'll lose. You beat East Tennessee State, and I think the Egg Bowl is kind of your swing game to see if it's an acceptable year, kind of a bad year. All right. Do me a favor, y'all watching. Thanks for watching there on YouTube. Smash that like button. 121 watching, 46 likes. Do me a favor, smash that like button. If you're new, please subscribe up to the Matt Moscone YouTube channel. It's free. Just hit the red subscribe button. YouTube, like the page, share the post. Matt Matt Cheney, what's up? Chewy Gutierrez. Kyle Aycock. Savoy was drafted by the Saints. For all the Saints, don't draft LSU grad. I remember it well. So more of an LSU deficiency, not SEC. Hope we see more of them. Talk about tight ends, yeah. Samuel Smith flew on a plane with Javen Coleman. Said he hoped to be back for week 3 of the season. We need him. Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. I'm hopeful for him. That's always, look, I mean, coming back from TJ is just tough. I think, probably expecting a guy to come back from Tommy John and be a starter immediately is a little ambitious. If he can be a lefty who can give you innings out of the bullpen, great. If maybe by the end of the season he could be a left-handed starter, fantastic. But I like him a lot too. Shane O'Mac, my wife is good friends with John Emery's mom. We're pulling for a huge Emery season and comeback story. The kid loved Coach O. Hopefully Brian Kelly can get it back on track. He's got a lot to prove this year, man. He's got a lot on the line. It's definitely his money year. Let's see. I don't see a game. Let's see, Keaton. I don't see a game LSU shouldn't win other than Bama. I mean, don't see Ole Miss or A&M being as good as last year. I believe they have a legitimate chance of beating Tennessee, Auburn, and Florida. Keaton, I'll say this. There's one game where LSU is going to be a heavy underdog, and that's going to be Alabama. Every other game on the schedule, aside from the non-conference games, right? Like, Southern, you'll win, and, UAB, New Mexico, all that stuff. You should win. You'll be a heavy favorite. Every other game is going to be a toss-up. I don't see there being a game the rest of the way where a team is more than a field goal favorite one way or the other. Like Florida State, the line's 3. Home game against Mississippi State, it'll probably be close to that, maybe 5 or 6. At Auburn, it's going to be close to a pick. Home against Tennessee, probably LSU by field goal. At Florida, LSU's probably a field goal underdog. Ole Miss, LSU's probably inside of a field goal favorite at home. At Arkansas, you're an underdog. At A&M, you're an underdog. You just, I know you, Keaton, expect them to win all those games because you're the most gigantic homer that's here. And do you, but it's not going to go that way. It doesn't go that way. Some games are going to work out. They're going to put it together and be really good on some Saturdays and have some really nice wins. I mean, think about that 2017 season with Ogeron where you freaking get blown out by Mississippi State. You lose at home to Troy. You lose to Bama, of course. But you also had a really nice win, against a hard-fought win on the road against Florida, that 17-16 game. You were getting trounced by Auburn, and you had that great comeback with the DJ Chark punt return. You had some really nice wins that season, but you also had some really disappointing losses. I mean, that's probably how this goes. That's generally how it goes whenever you're still trying to figure yourself out. What year was the Yeldon play you're referencing? 2012. Speaking of tight end, where is Gilbert? Eric Gilbert's at Georgia. Kirby Smart did talk about him last week as well. Tired Eyes, what's up? We need our D-line to take quarterback souls this year. Hi, Drew.
No.
I just said hi. Hey, Drew, you want to come say hi to Dad's show?
No.
Drew.
Yeah.
You want to come say hi to Dad's show?
Yeah.
Okay, come say hi to Dad's show. Come see Daddy. Hey, crazy hair. Okay. Oh. Well, who do we see? Who is it? Who do you see? Huh? Who do you see? Hey, babe. Who do you see? Did he just wake up?
Mommy.
You see Mommy. Okay.
Going now?
Well, that was fun while it lasted.
Wow.
Just too cool for Dad's show anymore, huh? Too cool for dad show. All right, y'all. As always, shout out to Brock, Patterns Orthopedic Clinic. Brock Rock and Wine, less than 2 weeks away. Get your tickets, brortho.com, brortho.com. And, of course, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Bubba Tatum, wouldn't it make more sense for the conference to have the forward-looking view towards the streaming platforms via one of the digital properties, since the transition to streaming is inevitable? Sure, but that's also, you have to have mutual interest at this point, and you also want to make sure that your fans have access, and not everybody is looking at over-the-top streaming right now, which is why, look at the NFL. You're still getting the large amount of money from Fox, CBS, Disney, ABC, ESPN, as opposed to streaming just on Thursday Night Football. So, you will eventually see that transition, and when it happens, great. But in the meantime, that's not where the money's being spent. And those platforms are still offering streaming. CBS still streams the games. ESPN still streams the games as well. So you have both a streaming and a traditional cable model, and they're paying more. Jacob Hibbard, how do you think we do against Tennessee, Ole Miss, Bama, and A&M? 3 of them are at home. I could see LSU going 2-2, given the talent. I could talk myself into 3-1. I could see 0-4, 1-3. That's the big question about LSU. I mean, you have all those games are toss-ups. I think you lose to Bama. A&M is not at home, by the way. The 3 at home are Tennessee, Ole Miss, Bama, yes. I really hope. Here's how I would love to see the season go. You're going to lose to Bama, but you beat the Mississippi schools at home. I would also hope that you beat Tennessee at home. So if you win your 3 home games that aren't Bama, and then your 4 road games in the league, Auburn, Florida, Arkansas, A&M, if you can split those, you're 9-3. That's what I hope happens. That's what I think is a realistic best chance of what'll happen. I also think there's a really good chance that of those 4 road games I mentioned, you lose 3 of them. Certainly think you could lose at home to either Ole Miss or Tennessee. But that could happen. You could win some of the road games. It's just, you're just going to be talking about a lot of really close games this year. Uncle Who Dat, thanks, Matt. That makes sense. I love the show. Keep doing what you do. Thank you, Uncle Who Dat. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for watching. Taylor Castagnier. I feel like our defense this year will be a lot like the 2019 defense. Good enough. First half of the year, pretty good by the end. That's what I think Florida State will be like the Texas game. Man. '19 had. All right, let's go through it. That defensive line in 2019 had Caleb Von Chasson, Tyler Sheldon, Apuaika, Glenn Logan, Neil Farrell. I mean, I like this defensive line a lot. I think they've got a good bit to prove still. Linebackers in 2019, not even remotely close. Jacob Phillips, Patrick Queen. That group was better than this one. And then the secondary, come on. Derek Stingley was an All-American. Christian Fulton. Grant Delpit. That's not even a comparison. So, the 2019 defense had far more talent than this one, man. You might have a different story if Ricks and McLaughlin had stayed. If you had Ricks and McLaughlin, Josh Smith, little web gem, little top 10, love it. Playing left field too. If Ricks and McLaughlin had stayed and that was your starting cornerback tandem, anyway. And by the way, Taylor, that defense in 2019 was, I think they just got sort of complacent at times. Like the Texas game was a little misleading, I think, because man, there was that 19 play drive that Texas had, and like dudes were just dropping like flies. And then they went to Vanderbilt, and I think the defense just got complacent because you had. Didn't the offense against Vanderbilt score like their first 5 drives? I think LSU had like 35 points at the start of the second quarter. So I think the defense just kind of like disengaged. Remember, what was the running? Was it Zach Stacy, the running back from Vanderbilt? I might be wrong on that, but he ripped one off like on their first play, of the game. It was crazy. Let's see. Keaton, they finished 9-3 that year. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that would be a best case scenario. That's what I keep saying. Like, that's a best case scenario for this team. Like, I would love to see it happen, but I also think that's their ceiling. I would love to see that happen. I mean, that would be great. Go 9-3. I think it would be a magnificent year 1 under Brian Kelly. Keaton, you're the one who keeps insisting they're going to be 10-2. I'm telling you, like, I think a best case for this team is 9-3. I also don't think that's real. That's going to happen. Inner glory clothing. Gilbert quit when it got hard. That is completely factually inaccurate. That is short-sighted, ignorant, stupid. I will continue to push back on that because people have read what they believe are narratives about him, and it's stunning to me still that people can't figure out what actually happened there. So Inner Glory Clothing LLC, before you decide you're going to crap on a kid, like get your info straight and actually be an adult human and know what the hell you're talking about. It's one of the things that annoys the hell out of me, dude. Freaking internet tough guys who just are sheep who just read things and assume they know what they're talking about because dudes with fake screen names talk hard about stuff. Bro, I ain't about that, man. Ed Ogeron did that kid a great disservice by saying his body hurt. Could have said anything. Could have said it's COVID, opt out, and he could have said anything, injured, anything. Instead, he said his body hurt. Let me ask you a question, man. You think a player's mom is going to drive from Georgia overnight to be with her kid because an 18-year-old because his body hurt? M. Tulo 86. I definitely don't think we will end the season 5th in our division. I think I picked LSU 4th. I think I went Bama, A&M, Ole Miss, LSU, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Auburn. And I think Arkansas is going to have a good team. Arkansas' schedule is just heinous. They literally have if you look at strength of schedule, they have the toughest schedule in America. So I think the West is just going to cannibalize itself. You can have Bama as the best team, and I could believe like everybody else is 4-4 in the conference. It's just, Auburn's not going to be 4-4, but you know what I mean. Like that middle pack, I think you're just going to have everybody sitting there at like 5-3, 4-4 in the league, where everybody just beats everybody. C. Keaton. That's when you look at things one-sided. So he said, 2017, a bad loss to Troy kept LSU from going 10-2. In 18, a 7 overtime game in College Station kept them from winning 10. Okay. Now let's flip that. All right. In 2017, a complete gag job by Auburn kept you from being 8-4. when Auburn was blowing you out at home and they gagged it away in the second half. In 2018, 2 pass interference penalties by Auburn on the game-winning drive allowed you the opportunity for Cole Tracy's game-winning kick. Otherwise, you're 8-4 again. See, you could play that game, but it cuts both ways. When you're playing close games, sometimes you get breaks that go your way, and sometimes they go the other way. So, like, that's how you end up splitting the difference. You're going to look at games that go your way, and then there's games that don't go your way, which is why you end up where you are. So, like, it's cute that you want to play that game. But, well, we got screwed in this game. Yeah, and there were also opportunities where you could have very easily lost. I mean, I could look at 3 games in 2018 where if you didn't have Cole Tracy, you lose. Starting with Miami in the opener. Cole Tracy like 5 field goals in that game. I could look at Mississippi State in the slop. Cole Tracy kept kicking field goals when LSU couldn't finish drives. But you know what? He's a really good kicker. Who's your kicker this year? Again, I'm not telling you they're going to be awful. I don't think they're going 6-6 or anything like that. I'm just telling you, like, if you're thinking that this team is going to get to 10 wins or have some like visions of grandeur, it's just like they're not built for that. There's too many questions. Like intuitively you've watched enough football to know that. But like you just want to convince yourself. Okay, convince yourself that they're going to be 10-2 and they're going to the New Year 6. Brett DeGrew. I have to believe 9-3 is realistic. We were 6-6 last season with a poor coaching staff. Gave away Auburn and Arkansas. Needed 1 or 2 plays to beat Bama. The shoe fits on the shoe. You could put that shoe on the other foot as well. I don't know if I used the same word. Like I just explained. Let's see. Trivia: Ask Rock when will I get my annual Drew birthday souvenir and lemon cookies? Lemon cookies. Wow. Now we're up in the ante a little, huh? Trivia? Lemon cookies? Thank you, Murder Giraffe. Someone finally gets it. Jacob Hibbard, how confident are you that Den brought Kelly's ability to have us high level offensively? Kelly hasn't had an exciting Notre Dame offense since 2015, really. I don't know that. I mean, shoot, they were pretty good last year. I mean, the Ian Book offense has scored a lot of points. I don't know what you're talking about. I also didn't love Tommy Rees as an OC there. I mean, Notre Dame was 19th in the country in scoring offense last year. They averaged 35 a game. I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, Georgia averaged 38. Bama averaged 39. I mean, Notre Dame averaged 35 points a game. Bama, the greatest offense ever, right? Averaged 39 a game. I mean, I'm trying to see where LSU was in scoring last year. LSU. Dang, LSU was 80th at 26 points a game. I mean, Notre Dame averaged 10 points a game more per average than LSU did last year. Samuel Smith, if you're allowed to say, when do you think GameCoin will be completely up and going? I don't know if you were here yesterday, but someone did ask, and I said that just a few days ago we got like incredibly exciting news that the developer has given us the date with which they will completely turn over the entire completed operation to us, and it will be live on the App Store and web live, like 100% go. I am not at liberty to share that date because while I'm a board member, I can't autonomously make that decision. I'm not going to, but it's very close. It's very, very, very exciting. And to have seen this thing on turbo speed to get it live and active this quickly has been so cool. Just when you consider a lot of times crypto projects, take years and years and years to go through the development stage to be live. A lot of times you're investing in an idea of what that project can be. So man, in less than 12 months from the hiring of Sarah Technologies to get the smart contract rolling to be live in less than a year is phenomenal. So, close very soon. Chewy Gutierrez, a lot of hype on South Carolina. Do you buy it? Hype on South Carolina? I mean, I guess some people are buying because of Spencer Rattler. I guess you'd have to define hype. They were projected to win 2 games a year ago, and they won 7, which was really incredible. I mean, they went to a bowl game. They're 6-6 and won the bowl game. I mean, if they get to 7-5, I think that's a good regular season for them. I mean, I could see that. Michael Kennedy, Cole Tracy was clutch. It was awesome. I mean, Cole Tracy, I think you forget how important he was to that team. Miami, Mississippi State, the Georgia game, and I know you're going to look at the Georgia game and the final score. So they blew out Georgia, and that was so much fun to watch. But you forget there were a lot of drives that stalled out where Cole Tracy was kicking field goals that just kept putting points on the board, kept putting pressure on Georgia. The bowl game. I mean, without Cole Tracy, Central Florida's rally would have won the game for him. So, that might be the most important thing that we're not talking about at all is LSU special teams. Patrick McKenzie, did you place your bet on Vandy over 2 wins? Patrick, was that you yesterday that I met? I wonder. Because yesterday, Rouse's, someone did come up and talk to me and ask me if I liked the Vandy over, and I do. I like Vandy over 2. Vandy has Elon. They open up against Hawaii, and they're like a touchdown favorite, and they get Elon. I think they'll find a way to win 3. So I do like Vandy over 2, if you can get it. Chris Anthony, thanks for all your hard work. Matt, just praying we only lose 2 or 3 games. All right. It's all good. Inner glory clothing. It's just one of those things where you had a young guy dealing with a legitimate thing, and the internet did to him what the internet does, and they did so out of ignorance, and too many people just grabbed it and ran with it. Anyway. What's Edward O got the crabs? What's good? Let's see. Kevin Rossalot, offensive line, bigger concern. Biggest concern. It is. Unless you want to say quarterback, it is for me. Because I think you've got enough skill guys at receiver, certainly, and at running back to be good on offense. And I think you get with 3 choices at quarterback, someone will ultimately win that job and steady it. I don't know that you're going to expect a all conference type season, but a good enough season to win games and get the ball to your playmakers. But you got to be upright. So if they can find their starting 5 coming through camp, that would be a huge boost. Trivia, you're not going to ask Iraq. She's in the other room. She's not in here anymore. She's taking a bath. Take Vandy in the over. They're going to win the East. Matt, I like how Paul Feinbaum said Brian Kelly killed it at media days. It's appalling that people continue to dump on Brian Kelly. He will have us back in the championship in 3 years while the media hate on Brian Kelly. It is kind of odd. I think he was just an easy target when he got hired. There were a lot of people who just, again, talking about running with narratives, ran with the narrative that he bailed on his team. I actually look at it and I go, man, like, respect, because he flew back to South Bend to meet with his team for 2 minutes, if you remember, and then flew back because he wanted to do it in person. I think that's super admirable. So I just think he was an easy target. And then the family thing and the dancing thing, he was a convenient target. But I think he did a really good job at media days. He really did. Look, there are people that go there. Les Miles would go and during his opening statement would just filibuster. He'd talk about what the Miles family did during the summer and what all the kids were up to in their sports. And he'd run through the entire depth chart and he would speak for 20, 25 minutes and there'd be 5 minutes left for questions. And he would try to say as little as possible and just get out without ever making a headline. I thought Brian Kelly did a really good job of being approachable, being loose, having fun with it. No game is ever won or lost at media days, but I think to that point though, right, DA, if Feinbaum, who's got such a big platform, is saying, yeah, guy did a good job here, and that's, that carries weight. And I thought he did. I thought Brian Kelly did a really good job, and I agree. I think Brian Kelly will win a national championship at LSU. There's no reason to think otherwise when the last 3 coaches here have all won championships. I just think you've got to be realistic and understand he's inheriting a program that was 500 in back-to-back seasons. He had to supplement with 15 transfer players. You're still in the SEC West. I think you just got to be patient with him. If you go 8-4 this year, coming off a 6-6 season, these guys throwing hatchets. Wow. Anyway, you go 8-4 this year. It's an improvement by 2 games over last year. Shoot, I'm with it. You want to see improvement, man. I want to see him, like, it sounds so silly to say, but like I want to see them get plays in an efficient manner. The quarterback going like, "What's the play? Give me a play." I don't want to see timeouts coming out of kickoffs. Like all the things that were just atrocious a year ago. Like, show me order and organization and progress on the field and win games. And like, he'll recruit well enough to get enough players in here to be back competing for championships. He did it at Notre Dame. Like, he'll have the opportunity to do it here. It's not going to be year one. You just got to be realistic enough to understand that. Murder Giraffe. I just want to be better than A&M. I think that would be hilarious. I don't think A&M is going to be great this year. I think A&M's real opportunity is next year, when because they're going to be sort of a younger team this year. I think when you have this group get a year older and that number 1 recruiting class for another year, I think next year, so the 2023 season would be the year realistically where Texas A&M, if they're going to make a run, that's when they should make their push. I'm not saying they will, I'm not predicting it or anything like that, but they have a really brutal stretch in the middle of their season where, I guess it's through September and then into October, but like they open up against Sam Houston, App State, they'll win those. Then they're home against Miami, which is interesting. They're home against Arkansas. Well, actually, that's the neutral site against Arkansas. And then they go back-to-back-to-back road games at Mississippi State, at Bama, open date at South Carolina. Then they're home against Ole Miss, Florida, at Auburn, home against UMass, then home against LSU. So it's a manageable schedule, but there are some really tricky spots in it. So, I mean, I could totally see a scenario where both LSU and A&M are 8-4, and if LSU wins in College Station, they have the tiebreaker over A&M. Like, I could totally see that. Like, I could see A&M losing the neutral site to Arkansas, losing at Bama, which they're going to lose at Bama, and then dropping either the Florida Auburn game and losing LSU. Like, I mean, I could see that 100%. I could see A&M being 4-4 in the league. All right, anything else? We might be just about ready to go. Gotcha, Patrick. No worries. Let's see. If you had to bet the house, who would you guess is the starting quarterback for foot? It's the third time this morning I've been asked who's going to be the starting quarterback against Florida State. I don't know. I keep saying it's Jaden Daniels. I'm just using deductive reasoning. And I genuinely believe that the coaching staff does not know either. Like, a lot of times they know, but they're just not going to say. I genuinely believe that they do not know because they use spring just to do install. And you have quarterbacks that have different skill sets. So what they're going to do in fall camp is start to implement things that suit the player's skill set. My personal belief is that the guy with the most dynamic skill set is Jaden Daniels' ability to run. And he also happens to be your most veteran quarterback. And he's also a guy that you brought in when you had the other two guys already, which might suggest that you weren't thrilled with the other two guys you had. So that's what I'm just using deductive reasoning to say Jaden Daniels. I know fans don't agree with that. Fans are saying Brennan because they want the storybook ending for the guy in his 6th year, or Nussmeier because they're really excited. I look at that and I go, Brennan can't run. And he's only started 3 games in his career, hadn't played in 2 years. And Nussmeier, we saw him have extensive action once last year, and he was awful against Arkansas. And he turns the ball over too much. That's the rap on him. So if you are a coach and you're trying to win games, you're not going to do a turn of the ball over with this team. Turn the ball over multiple times. So, give me the veteran guy who's been through the fire, who can make plays with his feet. That's just what I think. Again, I'm guessing, so I wouldn't bet the house on anything as far as that. Jacob Hibbard living in Utah. There's a lot of hype for the Utes. They have USC at home, Oregon on the road. I think they repeat the Pac-12 or break into the playoff. I think they have a great chance in the Pac-12, unless if Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams just pop off year one there at Southern Cal, which is entirely possible. But I do think Utah's going to beat Florida, by the way. Hope Daniels can pass better than the spring game. I'll put it to you this way, Hunter. The thing that has gone so overlooked with Daniels is, like, he got to campus and then they started spring like a week later. He had absolutely no time at all with his receivers. Like, can we all agree that repetition and timing matters with the pitch and catch game in football? I mean, give that guy the spring, all throughout the summer, fall camp to work on timing with his receivers, to develop that rapport. I think you have a very different scenario. It was good to have him here in the spring just to be able to go through, just to be able to get terminology and know where he was. I mean, remember, Joe Burrow in 2018 wasn't even here for spring football. Like, he showed up in June and went through off-season workouts, and then 2 weeks into fall camp and won the job. And it took half a season for them to really feel comfortable. I mean, it really wasn't until November of 18 that Burrow got comfortable. Do you remember Burrow did not throw a touchdown pass in the entire month of October in 2018? Did not throw a touchdown pass in the month of October in 2018. It wasn't until November that he kind of started to hit his stride. So I think all that matters, man. Timing, comfort, in the offense with your teammates, it all matters. What's the 2 display footballs above your head? That is the LSU Ohio State National Championship commemorative ball. That is a Joe Burrow commemorative ball. I had another one somewhere. This one was the LSU Ohio State final score, BCS, all that sort of stuff. And this one is the one. Move the game coin logo there. This is the Burrow ball that Nyko Sports did. I mean, they really did a phenomenal job with this. It's like all the panels have something different. It's like Burrow. These are all the records that he set. That's his stat line for every game that they played, and then the other panel is just a purple panel. So, yeah, they did it. And these are sold out, by the way. I don't think you can get one anymore. All right, y'all, we might be just about done. I got to get to church, too. Go over to 11:30. Get my praise on and my worship on. All right, we are just about done, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. As always, shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Let me know, by the way, we're not like full on promoting this yet, but we did redesign the HUDCO website. Again, we're not promoting it completely just because we want to make sure functionally it works and people like it. We could still tweak and all. So let me know. I'll go ahead and post it there. Let me know if y'all have any feedback on the website. I just posted the link to it there. Of course, would love to give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Okay, y'all have an awesome, awesome Sunday, and we'll see you. Peace.